All right, welcome to Real Business Roundtable. Today we're going to have a special episode that's laser focused towards an industry. We're going to do this episode to give some business owners out there a little bit of guidance. We're going to do these industry focused episodes that are geared towards a specific process. What are the best practices? How are you going to compete? Things to consider, technology, etc. In our day-to-day, we help a lot of businesses grow. We have an insane track record of getting this done, but we thought for those people that are kind of on the fence, they're not sure, we're going to do a high-level snapshot. We're not going to get into too many proprietary things, but we are going to give you kind of an outline to kind of get you to understand the importance of what you should have in place if you want to build your business. So today's episode, which is what we deal with a lot, is home improvement
and contractors,
construction, roofing companies, siding, windows, bathrooms, kitchens.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we find when we're confronting or talking or prospecting is that a lot of people are used to and try to be successful in buying shared leads. So one big thing that we find, I want to kind of, at the beginning of this, I want to go over objections. And the reason why is because people who are listening to this, the contractors that are going to be listening to this, are going to hear the objections, the things that we fix and the things that we help with. And they're going to say, oh, that's something that I do. I wonder why they, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But one thing that I find a massive objection or problem in this industry is that everyone is buying shared leads. It doesn't matter who it is. Contractors are stuck buying shared leads. They don't know how to build their own fruit tree, as you like to say. They don't know how to build their own infrastructure. And I think that, when we provide a contractor their own infrastructure, they really see the other side. And the other side, the grass is greener.
Yeah. So if somebody owns a construction company, say you're hovering around $1 million a year and you've been stuck there for 5 years, this is a video that you want to pay very close attention to. Yeah. It's about breaking outside of the word of mouth realm. You're now creating a new silo, an infrastructure that's going to produce leads that are a one-to-one communication. They're not shared. People want to speak to you by name, by your brand name, your company name. And in order to do that and position your construction company in a way to achieve this successfully is to move away from, if you are using shared leads right now, it's good as a temporary placeholder, but you want to try to be self-sufficient. What does that mean? That means having traffic that's coming to your website because when someone has intent, they go onto Google and they find you. That's one. Second is social media. You want to be found on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of the social media platforms. You want to make sure you're creating content that will resonate with a potential customer. So what does that mean? Okay, if you own a roofing company and you create an article and you publish it on your website, top 3 things to keep in mind before hiring a roofing company. Or what does it mean if your roof, what are the risks of a leaky roof? So if someone has a leaky roof, they land on your website, they're doing some homework, and they're like, wow, these guys are experts. You're positioning yourself as an expert. But when it comes to the infrastructure, we want to look at, where do we harvest customers from? Mm-hmm. Customers come from social media typically and search engines. Okay? That's when someone has intent or somebody sees you, you target them on social media, and they find you. The next element that's very important to keep in mind is, how are you communicating? You communicate with multimedia content, graphics, videos, and text-based media. Make sure the content you're creating shows your portfolio. You're showing before and afters. You're showing that homeowner that you're reputable, that you know what you're doing. Very important to do before and after photos on your website. Also, you want to make sure that when you are choosing the keywords to integrate on your website, that those are keywords that people are actually searching. It's one thing to go throw in all these words and you think that the customer is searching for those words. Not all the time. If you get into very specific things, you might not get as much traffic. But if you put like roofing company near me, roofing contractor, roofing installer, new kitchen design, whatever it might be, make sure that those words are all throughout your website on the right pages. We deal with this a lot, where contractors, they like the instant gratification of shared leads. And that can be a problem. The reason why it's a problem is what's happening is the company that you're buying the shared leads from, they have built the infrastructure that I'm sort of talking about. They have grown the fruit tree. They are selling the fruit off of their fruit tree to you. You get the instant gratification. You get that apple. You get the lead. The downside is that apple is typically shared with other people. Now you guys are fighting for who gets the majority of that apple, or the apple just in general. So when you have a lead provider just sending you leads, remember, it might be affordable to do that, but there's no equity. You don't own the infrastructure. You don't own the apple tree. Another thing that's very important to keep in mind is that you have 3, 4, 5 other contractors calling that lead. Now, what happens when you receive too many phone calls from a form that you fill out?
You're essentially commoditizing yourself when you're buying these shared leads.
Now you are just a quote. You are a quote. Somebody's looking for the best price possible versus somebody clicked on your ad. They clicked on your organic listing. They see that you have a great website. There's videos on there. There's great content. You have a great looking brand, nice design. They feel good about contacting your company direct. It's a one-to-one communication. That's ideal. You ask any construction salesperson, a one-to-one communication is always ideal. It's the best scenario for a salesperson.
And so now I just want to build off that. So you might be thinking, okay, that sounds amazing. That sounds like the dream. How do we make that happen? There's a key to this. There's a key to growing your company and doing it like this, where they call you by name rather than, treating you as a quote and comparing you to other, contractors, whatever it may be, whatever service. And there's a percentage that you have to spend. And I'm going to start it off with that because the amount that you spend is very, very important. Like you said, people like, these contractors like that instant gratification.
Yes.
And, these guys and these contractors only, I don't want to say these contractors. Most contractors are used to that with these shared leads. But if you were to spend 10% of your top line revenue into advertising, that includes, advertising spend on Google, Facebook, Instagram. It includes what else? Like the build out of a new website. Mm-hmm. It includes everything digital. If you spend 10 to 20%, and I want to get more into percentage in how much you spend on advertising, the infrastructure you're going to build online is going to provide you that 1-to-1 ratio when it comes to your customers and your clients and potential customers.
Yeah, when somebody calls your company by name, that's the best situation versus I just need a quote or just give me a quote. That's where you want to separate yourself from that type of, lead generation.
Yeah.
And you want to have somebody want to contact you.
You want the customer to understand your value, and you got to share that value through different means on social, on the internet, on social media, through your website, through, user interaction. What is it? UI design, like user interface.
Your
design.
user interface and your user experience are key if you want to get that customer to convert. So what is the customer going through when they are on your website? What are they seeing? Is your message being conveyed? Are you answering popular questions? You should always have a FAQ page on your website.
And a blog.
Make your website as resourceful as possible and get questions answered. That's how you facilitate the decision-making process. So you want to build this in steps. You want to have a great website with great design following user experience with a modern interface. You want to have beautiful graphics, before and after photos. You want to make sure that you have some movement on your website, maybe a nice video banner showing your crew installing, doing the work. Second, you want to make sure that you have pages broken down for the specific types of services that you do, whether it's roof repair, roof installation, it could be windows, siding, doors, whatever your specialty is. Have a page on your website that's dedicated to that one service. The common mistake that I see contractors make that do multiple things is they'll throw all their services on one page. Now, if you do that on the homepage, you better make sure that they're clickable links that take you to some craziness going on outside. Make sure that if you have your services listed on the homepage, they are clickable links to take you to the roof repair page, the roof installation page. Very, very important. Also, for social media, you need to make...
Before you get into social media, I want to talk a little bit more about the website.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You also want to make sure that you have options on the website. This could be in the front page. This could be, whenever a customer goes to the service. It's all part of a funnel. Think of it that way. You want to have financing options, and you want to have forms that they can fill so that they reach directly out to you.
You want the process of communication to be as seamless as possible, whether it's a phone number, a contact form. Our thing is call, click, or visit today. So if you have a brick and mortar office where someone can walk into, that's even better. Always put in phone tracking. So if you're running ads on Instagram, Facebook, Google, make sure that the landing page that you're utilizing for those ads has a trackable phone number. What's a trackable phone number? You can get one through Marchex. You can get one through CallRail. This will allow you to have the calls recorded that are coming in, so you can pull up the dashboard on CallRail or Marchex and actually see how many calls are being generated by this effort. Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Google, you can actually break it down. You can create 3 separate phone numbers and see what's working and what's not. Now, I wanted to get a little bit into social media. A lot of business owners and contractors are too busy to be making posts on Instagram and Facebook. We all know this. Whether you have an office manager or you want to hire an agency, guys like us, to make sure that those posts are consistent, that they provide value, that they're interesting,
entertaining.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you're doing at least 1 per week, preferably 3 per week. That's ideal. So when it comes to social media, it's always good to stay consistent, because you may have somebody out there that's thinking about using you. They know they're ready to buy a roof in probably 2 months. They've already looked at your website, but they didn't call you yet. They're sort of watching you. Make sure you're consistent, because the reputation is everything nowadays. And sometimes people kind of sit back and watch. I've had people contact me and say, yeah, I've been kind of watching you for like a year before they called me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird, but people sort of have different buyer behaviors, and that's what you want to cater to. So social media posts need to be consistent. Next is advertising. You want to run ads on Google and social media, but there's 2 options. You can run ads the regular way through the advertising platform, or you can use AI-driven customer data, which is something you want to talk about. You can send us a DM, whatever, we'll talk about it. It is something that's proprietary to us, but you want to access, intent data. Basically, what is that? That's a list of people that have been validated, qualified, and verified being interested in your offering, whether it's a roof, a kitchen, windows, or whatnot. So we have access to customer lists of people who are actively looking. So you want to really get the most juice out of the squeeze if you're using the right data. People nowadays, or companies nowadays, they usually have a data budget. This is something that you really want to consider if you want to, advertise the proper way in 2023 and beyond, and do what the big boys are doing, is data, data, data. That's a big play for companies nowadays.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go back to social media real quick.
Okay.
So social media in itself is a strategy. There's a lot of traffic that is to be obtained through social media, but you want to make sure that you're doing this the right way. You don't want to just go, most of these guys are going on and creating an Instagram, and they're like, okay, we're good. We'll post pictures occasionally, and then they lose track of it. No, this has to be a strategy. In order to make your efforts worth it on different social media platforms, you have to utilize multiple platforms at the same time. And it's you can easily do that through apps like Planoly. That's a good one, where you can schedule out a month ahead of posts. So essentially, you take a couple hours, you get 10 videos, right? 10 videos, 10 pictures, whatever it may be, and you post those. And you can schedule those out. You can actually schedule them out right on Facebook in the Meta Business Manager. And essentially, it's very important to get it on Instagram, Facebook. What else? TikTok, even Snapchat. Snapchat stories is a great place to put things out there. You got to utilize these platforms in a way that you're actually going to you're going to justify the efforts going into it. You don't want to just post a picture, once a week and then you're good. You want to make sure that picture that's being posted is being posted on 5 different platforms. You want to make sure that, a story is being posted on 5 different platforms. because each platform has a different demographic, and it doesn't even matter. Word gets around. Think of it like referrals or word of mouth. Maybe some kid sees a video of a guy making a very entertaining video about a roof, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, check this out." That dad's gonna see that, and we're talking about the rule of 7. When someone sees a name, let's say a name of a roofer or a name of a contractor, they see the name 5 to 7 times. They're most likely going to, when they need a roof, they're most likely going to remember that name first, and they're going to go to their website and they're going to, try to work with them. It's all a massive strategy, and you got to make sure that the efforts you're putting into social media, if you want to start social media, is actually going to benefit your business and drive traffic. Like I said, don't just start an Instagram and post once per week. That's fine. It's good.
You talk about the tool for proper hashtags.
So, yeah, so I'll get a little bit deeper into it. That's fine. Like I was saying, you'll have a little bit of a presence, but the effort that you're putting into it, making that picture, it's not going to get you anywhere. You're not going to gain anything from it. Take some time, learn about these platforms, and always use multiple platforms at the same time. You can look it up and search, different ways to post, but if you post a picture on Instagram, it can post on 3 other different platforms just at the click of a button. You don't have to go to each platform. So now when it comes to social media, there's hashtag strategies. So for people who don't understand what a hashtag is, when you go on Instagram and you search something in the search bar, if your hashtag is relevant to that search, it has keywords like SEO, your post is going to show up. So every time you post a picture, every time you post a video, no matter what content it is, you should be adding in active hashtags. And so I like to use the words DAU and MAU, daily active users and monthly active users. Those 2 are very important when it comes to looking up the type of hashtag that you want to use. You can search it up on Google. You may have to pay for a platform, which is fine, but look up, the most popular hashtag with the most DAUs, or, which hashtag in this industry has the most active users right now, or the most active users this month. Use a couple from the most active ones this month, and use a couple from the most active, today. Also, switch them up. Try out different ones, because some are going to work better than the others. And, you may think, you're seeing posts with 30 different hashtags. That doesn't work. I mean, it does, but it's an old strategy. You got to figure out which hashtags work best for you, and then you got to keep using those and utilize and catch up. Kind of like SEO. It's always changing. Hashtags are always changing. What people are searching is always changing. Stay on top of it. And that's when, you hire an agency or you hire a person to, control this sort of stuff so that they can stay on top of it. Because as a business owner, you don't really have a lot of time to do it. And so that justifies hiring someone to help you with all this stuff.
Yeah, we have a long history of helping construction companies grow dramatically, and this is why we want to share some nuggets of information for those that might be on the fence. They're not sure, they maybe want to try to do it themselves. Maybe they want to work with their office manager to get this done on the cheap. We just want to put out some information just to give some people some guidance, because sometimes people will put all their eggs in one basket. They're like, yeah, I'm doing social media posts. Well, that's one small piece of the equation. You need to be doing multiple things. So when it comes to visibility naturally on Google, not paid, we're talking about organic rankings on search engines, preferably Google. You want to make sure that you're doing keyword research. There's tools out there on Google that will give you the what's called search volume. Search volume is how many people search that word on a monthly basis. It's like an average. Then you can say, okay, roofer near me in my area gets 10,000 searches a month. That's a good keyword to go after. Now you start to integrate those keywords within your content, within your pages. And also the other side of search engine optimization is not just what you put on the website, it's about what you put off of the website. Now this tactic separates the pros from the amateurs. It's referred to as link building, citation,
off-page SEO.
Off-page, boosting popularity score. There's so many terms for it. Basically, it's the same thing. Websites have what's referred to as authority.
Credibility score.
Credibility. When these websites have been around for a long time, they're credible websites, and you can get your content published on these other websites. And again, you have to find somebody that knows how to do this the right way.
But we'll give you a little trip. I'll give you a little trip.
So let's say you create an article that says what the dangers of a leaky roof. what to do about it or something like that. And you write a 500-word piece and you publish that article on another website that, let's say it's been around for 20 years, it has high authority. Now, when Google looks at your website, they see roofer near me, roofing replacement, all these good keywords. It looks for validation by checking other websites to see if that topic is being referenced related to your name. And this is where it is an endless process.
Yes.
Where we're constantly building citation here, citation there, citation here. And this is where the search engine optimization process keeps going.
Yes. And so I kind of want to give a tip or a trick or, a little strategy on how to get your name out there a little bit easier, maybe like a certain strategy. And I'm going to talk about the news.
Okay.
So one strategy for people to help boost their credibility or, how to get an off-page link is they'll do some sort of charity work, right? I know a lot of roofers and a lot of, these construction guys and contractors, they do something like give away, do a free roof or do free windows or, do free siding, whatever it may be. They choose someone every year. Maybe they do like a raffle or whatever it may be. If you do something like that, you give away something for free or you help someone out, that is likely going to get into the news. And then you know what I'm saying, right? And maybe you can add on to this maybe a little bit more of the strategy.
Well, it's called social proof. If people do research on your company and they see that you are being talked about in a major news outlet, NBC, CBS, Fox, around here you get the Boston Herald, they see that you're being talked about. That adds a lot of credibility to your business. It benefits you for search engine optimization. A lot of companies nowadays, they don't know how to go about getting in the news. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you want to find an expert, or you can contact us on how to get this done. But I need to stress, this is about a multi-tiered, comprehensive strategy, not a tactic. So if you just take one or two of the things that we're talking about, it's not going to cut it. This is like a recipe. All the ingredients put into the recipe are going to produce the desired result. When you start chopping things up, you're going to set yourself up for potential letdown.
Yeah.
But yes, that adds more citation.
Yeah.
You're getting your name out there.
Think about it this way. When you are being talked about on a website that has high traffic with the demographic that you are targeting, that looks really good. And it helps out a lot with SEO. Think about it. You have your website, which people aren't going on there to look at news or to do whatever. They're not going on there just like recreationally. They're going on. A lot of people are going onto the news stations recreationally, or I'm just using that as an example. A news station is an example. It's not but people go on to news stations websites recreationally. There's a lot of traffic there, and a lot of people are looking at these stories, and they're gonna see that name of your company, and some of them are gonna click on it. But the large picture is that it looks really good for Google when your name, your URL, is on a high traffic website. That looks amazing. That looks really good. It looks really good for Google, and that's gonna bring your ranks up a little bit. Also, it stays there forever.
It's like a tattoo on the web. When you're investing in search engine optimization, it's just that. It's an investment. It's not going to give you instant gratification, but over time, year 1, year 2, year 3, you're going to see progress. You're going to notice that this year is better than last year. Last year was way better than before. You just did word of mouth. So it's a journey. It's a gradual thing that increases. The next thing I want to talk about is the importance of Google My Business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get it.
So your Google My Business page needs to be set up. You need to make sure that you have the proper areas that you serve. Your hours are set up properly, that you have a link to your website when somebody goes to your Google My Business page. You want to find someone that can properly manage that page for you, because a lot of traffic comes through Google Local. We don't want to leave that untouched. You don't want to just rely on only your website, but you also want to use Google Local, Google My Business to drive in that traffic.
Yeah, and since we're talking about Google, now we're kind of getting into it. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that.
No, good.
So another thing that a lot of these businesses don't understand and need to get a better understanding of is that, just like a lot of other marketing, there's ramp up times. When you're doing, especially Google advertising, never stop it. You start it and you continue to go try not to touch and change the amount of money that you spend on Google, because there's
the settings.
Or the settings. You gotta get good settings. You gotta get a good budget. Like I said before, you're looking at 10 to 20%, and I know people are not gonna like this number, but we've done this time and time and time again, and that's why we have the reputation we have. Is because when you spend a consistent amount of money and you keep your settings consistent with Google, it ages and it gets better and it gets better. And you might be thinking, a couple months in, I'm not seeing anything.
There's an element of AI when it comes to Google advertising, pay-per-click. There's an element of AI there, and AI gets better with input and gets better with time. And when you're just starting out and you haven't done this before, you need to go in and just be patient and let it build up. We've had projects that, they had a foundation of Google history, and then we come on board, we adjust things, increase the budget, and we've seen massive results.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I just, I'm trying to bring up things that people may not know that we can kind of, help them out with a little bit. So you talked about advertising on social platforms, the target audiences. We talked about social media. I kind of want to get more into, more into how to portray your value through a really good website.
So one way to portray your value is to create a commercial. It doesn't have to be something crazy. Just create a nice 2-minute overview video about your business, what you do, what makes you unique. Show your passion a little bit, show your face if you're not camera shy, and show that you're a real person. If you're a family-owned business, which is really common in construction, show that. Make the customers feel warm and welcomed and not intimidated to contact your company to come do their roof or their kitchen. Presentation is everything. Mm-hmm. So invest in a 2-minute or even a 1-minute overview video. You can find a local video producer, make sure they know how to edit properly, and put that on the top folder of your website, right when they come to it, right at the top. You integrate it within the design of your website, and then on the About Us page, you can put the full video that someone can watch with full sound.
One thing your goal should be is to decommoditize yourself, because we all know that the big powers in this industry want to commoditize you. They're sharing your quote with one person. 5 different of these 5 businesses, 5 different businesses are competing for one job. It's a quote, and it's coming from these big companies. And you don't want that. You don't want to compete on price. You want people to understand your value, and you're going to portray this with a video which speaks infinite amount of words.
Ultimately, if you're a construction company and you want to grow, you're doing a couple $1 million a year, that means that you typically can afford proper growth. Look at it like this. You are building and investing into your own infrastructure where you will bear fruit indefinitely as long as you're feeding it, versus taking someone else's fruit from their infrastructure, and they're essentially the middleman. What we're talking about today is cutting out the middleman and creating a better situation when a customer calls you to get a quote, where it's a one-to-one communication, which is always ideal.
Yeah.
And this is really good. If you're a construction company and you have salespeople, imagine telling your sales team, we're building our own infrastructure. We're going to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. We're not going to need these lead providers anymore.
Yeah, and also, instead of them having to go out and knock on doors, which is good, but instead of them having to go out and knock on doors and make lists of potential customers and calling them all day, they answer the phone to people who want to work with them. The phone's going to be ringing all the time when you do this right, and they're going to answer it, and it's going to be a seamless sale. It's going to be amazing. They're going to be so happy.
And if you built your business on word of mouth, that's great. That's the foundation of any great company.
It's phenomenal, yeah.
But you will hit a plateau. That plateau might be at a comfortable level. You're making great money, things are good, you think everything's great. But the reality of word of mouth advertising is that network diminishes naturally because people move, people pass away, people, maybe they have a relative that does it now. Now they're going to give them their business. I've seen people with word of mouth networks that provided a great service just drop.
At the same time, think about it this way. When you're running a business off word of mouth, there's only so many people you can reach. I mean, you're reaching a network of people. but you're never going to leave that network of people. It's going to grow a little bit, oh, this person needs a roof, this person needs a roof, and they'll get the, word of mouth referral. But what about all those people that network of people don't have access to, or don't, you know what I mean? When you go online, you're getting in front of everyone who needs a roof now, everyone who's looking for a roof now.
Yeah. And don't be shy to new technology. There are technologies out there. We have access to something very special. It will allow you to get the most juice out of the squeeze for your advertising by knowing who wants that service based on their actual needs, them being qualified. So don't go into advertising raw. Look at intent-based data. They call it in-market data, whatever you want to refer to it. It's basically a list of people who have intent. Not all of those providers are created equal. You have to make sure you understand how many data sources are being scraped. Are they tracking voice? Are they tracking conversations? Say somebody says the roof is leaking. They actually say it near their phone. You want to make sure that you are tapping into that opportunity and being able to connect with these people on a one-to-one basis. Hey, I offer roofing. By the way, when you're running an ad to them, when you're using it when you're doing it this way, the person has a leaky roof. You're serving them an ad directly on Facebook or Instagram right when they express that need. So don't be shy to technology. Don't be shy to intent data. Very, very powerful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as a business owner, with the goal in mind to grow and to be successful, you should always have an open mind. You should always, be changing with the market, adapting. Being an adaptful business owner is very, very, very powerful. If you old school guys and old school businesses are successful as well. But
another thing that you want to invest in is some type of analytics tool. I know that Google Analytics is pretty standard, but there's a really good tools out there. There's one called Agency Analytics. It's an industry standard. It gives you the breakdown of where traffic's coming from. It gives you the duration that someone's on your website. It tells you how quickly people leave your website. It gives you so much intelligence on what's going on, how much traffic's coming from social media, how many people are coming from organic searches, how many people are coming from direct searches. Those are people that know your name. So it kind of gives you an understanding of how many people are looking you up that know your name, so you can kind of get a feel for your brand awareness right then and there. So you want to invest in a nice dashboard that sits behind your website to give you that nitty-gritty of what's really going on.
It also helps you understand if you have to make any adjustments to your campaigns. I mean, if you have to make an adjustment to your website, if you have to, move around something on a different page, or if your advertising is not working properly, understanding and having a tool that gives you analytics is very powerful. It helps you adapt. It helps you continue to be progressive and grow, rather than, putting something out there and hoping. Hope is great, but it doesn't work.
You also have to keep in mind that you need to get creative with your ad copy. When you are running these ads, you should do three things. You need to interrupt them, highlighting a need or a want. You need to inform them on who you are and what you do and what problem you solve. And third, most importantly, you need to ask them to do something. That's called a CTA, call to action. We call it the invitation. So we have the interruption, the information, and the invitation. Those are the three steps to driving better conversions on your ads. And that is highly recommended if you want to get the highest level of performance from your ads.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create this video just to give you guys a high-level overview of our expertise when helping contractors grow their business, breaking through that plateau of that word-of-mouth realm that people sort of get stuck in. And we have the experience and the know-how. We're open to answer questions. If anyone has any questions at home or in the office, you can give us a shout and send us a DM. Yeah,
honestly, we really just touched on how deep we can get.
This is all high level. We didn't get too deep.
Yeah.
This isn't a training course by any means. This is more just of a high level overview to give someone an idea of how to build their own infrastructure and be self-reliant as a construction company. Whatever your trade is, it doesn't matter. You could do decks, you could do siding, you could do windows, flooring. It doesn't matter. If you're in the home improvement industry, there is so much opportunity out there to fine-tune things and take things to the next level that could reach mind-blowing levels that we've seen. So thank you everybody for watching. And if you have a construction company, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much for joining us. Is that it?
Go
Thank you
ahead,
so
dude.
much for joining us today on the Real Business Roundtable. We're going to continue to make, industry specific videos like this where we talk about how, you can set yourself up for, you can position your business for success and for growth and, how to adapt and, all that good stuff. But, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you never miss a new video that we post. Peace.